a quiet town, an influential family, and a child who vanished without a trace. This is the story of the Lindbergh kidnapping, a case that gripped the United States and left a trail of questions still unanswered to this day. Welcome back to our channel, where we delve into the most mysterious crimes in history and real chilling horror stories. If you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. Now, let's unravel the enigma of the Lindbergh kidnapping. The Lindberghs were one of the wealthiest and most prominent families in the country. Their mansion stood as a symbol of success, but on a cold, fateful night in March 1932, it became the center of a nightmare. At the heart of this story is young Charlie Lindbergh, only 2 years old. A child loved by his family and adored by all who knew him. He was no ordinary infant, but the 20-month-old son of the aviator Charles Lindbergh, America's great hero, who just 5 years before had become the first man to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. But on that stormy night, the unthinkable happened. Charlie was put to bed in his nursery, tucked in safely by his nanny. But when his mother checked on him a few hours later, the crib was empty. Panic set in. A search ensued, but little Charlie was nowhere to be found. The only clue was a ransom note, crudely written, demanding $50,000 for the safe return of the boy. The family was thrust into a media frenzy, the whole country watching their every move. Days turned into weeks, and despite the family's efforts to meet the kidnappers' demands, no solid leads emerged. The police were stumped, and the public grew more anxious with each passing day. Investigators worked around the clock, sifting through hundreds of tips and leads. The mansion was combed for evidence, and every friend, family member, and employee was questioned. Suspicion lurked around every corner. Theories and speculations ran wild. Was it an inside job? Could it be a revenge plot? Or perhaps a crime of opportunity? The more the authorities dug, the deeper the mystery seemed to grow. Weeks turned into months, and hope began to fade. Until, one day, a breakthrough came from an unlikely source, a ransom bill used at a gas station. The ransom money had been carefully marked by investigators. When a gas station attendant received one of the marked bills, it set off a chain of events that would crack the case wide open. The bill was traced back to a man named Bruno Richard Hauptmann. Hauptmann was an immigrant from Germany, a carpenter by trade, who had come to the United States seeking a better life. He had a history of petty crimes, including burglaries, which now painted him in a suspicious light. Authorities raided Hauptmann's home and discovered more of the marked ransom money hidden in his garage. They also found materials that matched the latter used in the kidnapping, linking him directly to the crime scene. The evidence was overwhelming. Hauptmann was arrested, and his trial became one of the most sensational events of the decade. During the intense interrogations, Hauptmann finally broke down. He confessed that financial desperation had driven him to commit the heinous act. He had lost his job during the Great Depression and saw the kidnapping as a way to solve his financial woes. However, his greed and desperation led to a tragic and irreversible outcome. The lifeless body of young Charlie was found, bringing an end to the desperate search, but opening a new chapter of grief and anger. The nation mourned with the Lindberghs, and the quest for justice took on new urgency. The subsequent investigation and trial brought many to justice, but for many, it was not enough. The case remained a chilling reminder of how even the most secure lives can be shattered in an instant. Bruno Richard Hauptmann was convicted of the kidnapping and murder of Charlie Lindbergh. Despite his continued claims of innocence and numerous appeals, he was sentenced to death. On April 3, 1936, Hauptmann was executed in the electric chair. While Hauptmann's execution brought a sense of closure to some, questions and controversies lingered. Many wondered if Hauptmann acted alone or if there were others involved who were never caught. The case spurred changes in how kidnappings were investigated and led to the passing of the Federal Kidnapping Act, also known as the Lindbergh Law, making kidnapping across state lines a federal offense. Decades later, the Lindbergh kidnapping still echoes through the halls of history. A somber tale of loss, a relentless pursuit of truth, and a call for vigilance. Crimes like these are a dark stain on our society, a reminder of the depths to which human nature can sink. Let us honor the memory of those affected by remaining vigilant and standing united against such atrocities. Together, we can build a safer world for our children and our future. This case has given rise to numerous conspiracy theories, some of which are quite gloomy. I won't be sharing them here. Is Hauptmann the actual killer, or was he merely a pawn in the schemes of others? What do you think? Comment below. And if you have real stories or experiences, please send to palacehorror@gmail.com or as DM to my Instagram. Thank you for listening.